In today's video, I'll be showing you how I paint a realistic ear with an airbrush. On the side of the screen, I have a list of tools that I'm using in case you were wondering. At the very beginning, I created a paper stencil in the shape of the ear that I'm painting. For airbrush artists, paper stencils are an invaluable tool. Not only are they cheap and easy to make, they allow us to have more control over our painting. To make one is very simple. All I did was trace my drawing on a separate paper, then use an X-Acto blade to cut out the shape I wanted. Stencils are great for preventing unwanted overspray, but most importantly, they're great for creating various types of edges. Edge control, as I like to call it, is one of the fundamentals that you learn in fine art. It may fall under the umbrella of composition. Edge control refers to the varying hard to soft edges that exist within the contours of your painting and drawing. There are many different types of edges: lost edges, soft edges, hard edges, and sharp edges. Knowing when and where to add these borders will greatly improve the realism of your painting, and a paper stencil can assist in that. In this video, you can see that I am being very mindful where I use the stencil. The creases of the ear are not sharp, nor are they soft. They are somewhere in the middle, so I'm mostly using the stencils to frame the ear and its creases and reaffirm them with freehand painting. Freehand paint refers to painting with an airbrush without additional supports such as a stencil. An airbrush on its own is a very good tool when it comes to creating soft and hard edges, but it requires a lot of control and focus. You will see me go back and forth between these two techniques, using a paper stencil and then just freehanding it. I'm not a purist who believes a real airbrush artist should never use a stencil. I will say there's nothing wrong with using tools as a creative in order to further our artistic practices. It's what it's there for. However, I do believe in a balance, and we should learn to use both techniques to our disposal. So, with that being said, you can see that I'm using the paper stencil to reaffirm those harder edges, and then without going too hard, I then use the pencil eraser to kind of soften those details, or if I've gone too dark too quickly. When I'm freehanding, this is a time when I mostly am focusing on the form and shape, and I touch a lot on that form and shape in my previous video when how to paint a nose. So I'm constantly thinking of, where the light is in my reference, how is that affecting the 3D of my subject, and this will help a lot with creating, 3D, creating that realism, and so on and so forth. So when I'm using the stencil, I'm making sure to follow the direction of the light and paint the side that it is darkest. Another good tip is when using a stencil to always lift the stencil up every couple of seconds after spraying, so you can compare that section with the rest of the painting, or that you're even spraying in the right area. Some stencils can obscure what you're seeing because it may cover other parts of your painting. So constantly checking your work, constantly lifting your stencil after you're spraying is a good habit to get into. I can't tell you how many times I've left the stencil on too long and I've sprayed thinking that I'm spraying in the right area, and then I lift it up and I see that actually I've sprayed the paint, 2 millimeters away from where I should have sprayed, or somehow I end up with a double line, a double crease, a double eyeshadow, like it's a whole mess. So to prevent those mistakes, it's always good to check your work, and that goes without saying. Always check your reference, always take a break, take a step back and reflect on what you've done. That way you're able to see your mistakes a lot easier. You're able to know where you need to improve and where you need to add further details to make the painting better as a whole. And so throughout the rest of the video, I'm just going back over, the stencil techniques, the freehanding, the form, the shape, painting in areas, is it too dark? Is it too light? Does it need to go darker? Right now I'm just focusing on the cast shadow of the ear to make it pop a bit more. And yeah, just making sure that I have the values in the correct place. And as you can see, this pretty much wraps up the video. I know it's a quick one, but as you could probably guess by my voice, I'm not 100%, going through a bit of a cough due to the change in weather, so I won't strain my voice any longer. But I do hope that you guys have learned something today. If you picked up any tips and techniques that I've been sharing, and if you really like the video, I would appreciate if you give it a like, a follow. That will encourage me more to keep making more for you guys. So with that said, if you have any further questions or thoughts, opinions, let me know in the comments section. All right, thank you and see you next time.